of the Loveland Board of Education and call it to order at 5:03. Mr. Hawley, can we have a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Doherty,
Here.
Dr. Lorenz,
Here.
Ms. Pettit,
Here.
Dr. Swetchenow,
Present.
Mrs. Washburn.
Present.
I will just note for those who are watching the meeting, first of all, we are all, if you can't tell from the pictures, you're not looking very closely. We are all remote for this meeting. We are not having an in-person meeting. It is all remote. And I'm very thankful since it's snowing here in Loveland where I am. I'm also very thankful. I wanted to mention that there was a tribute for a second grader in Loveland schools who passed away. There was a presence at the funeral procession today. And I would just like to thank the district administration and staff who worked together with the community organizers of that in order to allow our parents and our students and our teachers and our staff to share in the tribute and share their emotions and their support of that family. It really is a blessing to live in a community that supports its families that way.
Difficult day.
It was a difficult day. It is I can't imagine anything worse for a family. And so hopefully the support of the community helped a little bit in that time.
And our condolences to the family.
Thank you. Okay, so there are, for the purpose of the audience knowing what is happening, there are only 2 items on this meeting. They are to consider an executive session, to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee, and then a resolution is proposed to approve contract for the interim superintendent. You will remember at our last meeting that we did move to appoint Brad Nevin as our interim superintendent, and this evening is for the purpose of reviewing a contract. Unless there is any discussion or any concern about the agenda, I would ask for a resolution to enter into oh, wait a minute. Sorry. We had a roll call. Did we have a motion to approve the agenda? Sorry about that. Could I have a motion to adopt that agenda?
Michelle said yes. I'll second.
See Ms. Pettit, and then I hear Dr. Swetchenow. Mrs. Washburn, you should not be waving to move in second while you're driving in the car. I'll just say that. Just be careful there. And so we have a motion and second to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? Mr. Hawley, can we vote on that?
Dr. Lorenz,
Yes.
Ms. Pettit,
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow,
Yes.
Mrs. Washburn,
Yes.
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Motion carried. As I mentioned, there are only 2 things on the agenda, so it would be appropriate at this time for a resolution to go into executive session.
So moved.
Dr.
Second.
Swetchenow moved. Did I hear a
Second.
second? Mr. Doherty seconded. And so, Mr. Hawley, can we vote to go into executive session for the purpose of considering the employment and the compensation of a public employee or official?
Ms. Pettit,
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow,
Yes.
Mrs. Washburn,
Yes.
Mr. Doherty,
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz.
Yes, motion carried. I have us going into executive session at 5:08. Again, for purpose of the audience participation, there is business scheduled for after the executive session.
This switching back and forth is getting smoother.
Now that you've said that, it won't. Well, should I remember my first Zoom meeting? I had to do it on my phone and Sam was doing, I didn't know what I was doing. But it has gotten better.
Looks like we are on, Kathy.
I believe we are. We're still recording. I think we're waiting for Dr. Switch now and Mrs. Washburn. Mr. Lape, are you there for our technological?
Yep, right here.
Are you able to, I believe that Mr. Nevin is in this meeting as an attendee. Is he able to be moved up as a participant so that we can see his photo?
I can do that. I actually made him a panelist.
A panelist, that's what I mean.
And John, you may have also seen a message from Dr. Schwetzenau. He says he's here.
Mhm.
All right, give me a minute. Let me look.
He's currently an attendee, so you might just have to pull him over, John.
So, Mr. Nevin, do we want to move him over too?
Yes, please.
Thanks. I was saying how easy it was to flip back. Apparently I was wrong.
The rest of us.
We hear you and we're happy that you're here.
All right, here he comes.
I don't see Mr. Nevin.
His video and audio is off.
There he is.
There he
Got
is.
it.
Hey, welcome
Okay,
aboard.
welcome. Let me just state for the purpose of our audience that we have returned from executive session. If you've been listening, you've heard our chatter about the technological effort to get back into this public meeting. But I have us as returning from executive session at 5:50 p.m. And we are now back in public session, and I would ask if there is a motion to approve the contract for interim superintendent.
I move.
So move. Oh, second.
I see Ms. Pettit and Mrs. Washburn. I think Mrs. Washburn, I told you not to make motions while you were driving.
That's why I spoke, but I forgot. I
Yes,
put my
got it.
hand up today.
Okay, I'm just giving you trouble. Please be careful. So we have a motion and a second to approve the contract for the interim superintendent. Any discussion at this point? I would like to introduce Mr. Nevin after we have the vote, but any discussion? I will simply note that the board has worked in executive session on a contract for Mr. Nevin that is reflective of his deep experience as a superintendent and also reflective of the many duties that he will undertake as interim superintendent in this period as we begin to look for the next superintendent for Loveland. So Mr. Hawley, can we vote on that?
Dr. Swetchenow?
Yeah.
Mrs. Washburn?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz?
Yes.
Ms. Pettit?
Yes.
Motion carried. I would like to welcome Brad Nevin as our interim superintendent. The details of the job, he will start as interim superintendent on February 10th. His contract will actually be dated February 1st. He will join us for some pre-service days. I think he may have been trying to work already for us even prior to getting paid. He is very enthusiastic about helping us in this transition time. Mr. Nevin is a retired superintendent, retired from Vandalia Butler most recently. I think he's also served as a principal somewhere in there as well. But I would like to ask Mr. Nevin if he would like to say anything by way of introduction of himself.
I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity and for your vote of confidence. And Mrs. Washburn, thank you for the motion, although we'd rather you be safe and so please be careful out there. I think I mentioned to the board that I'm excited about the position, but I'm excited about the work and the results that I think we can achieve over the next several months. This is not a new situation to me. I do have a lot of experience. Yes, I am retired, and I'm a retired rehired guy, which means I have some age, but that means I hope some wisdom that I can help you with. So again, I thank you so much for the experience. One thing that is a little frustrating in these times is this would typically be a chance for me to meet the community. I would be there, we'd all be there in person, and we can get to talk to folks and all. So I'd like to reach out to anybody who's watching tonight or will read the minutes. And if you can reflect this in the minutes, I will be in the district next week. So please leave a message at the office and feel free to leave it at any time. My email and all will be set up soon. I'll call back if someone wants to have a cup of coffee, either virtually or in person, or a phone call or a Zoom meeting. That's exactly what I hope to be doing over the next several months. So to the community, thank you. And again, please let's engage face to face where we can, and certainly on the phone if we're not able to. But I'm ready to get started.
Kathy, you're muted.
Thank you. We are all very excited to have you serve the district in this particular time. So this is a great day, I think, for Loveland Schools. Any other board member comments?
Big welcome, Brad.
Thank
Glad
you
to
so
have
much.
you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard.
Excited to work with you. Looking forward to it.
I think Mrs. Washburn may be frozen. She was in her car. So I think she's,
We
I'm
just
not sure
lost
she's
her.
still with us. Have we lost her?
We just lost her.
All right. Well, we do still, the only thing left on the agenda is a motion for adjournment. Maybe we can give her a minute to see if she tries to come back in, but I do believe that we could simply note she had to leave the meeting at a certain time. I don't hear anything from her. I am going to say that we should go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn, noting that Mrs. Washburn left the meeting at 5:57.
I move to adjourn.
Ms.
Second.
Pettit moved. Is there a second? Dr.
Eric.
Swetchenow seconded. It's not debatable, so let's all vote on adjournment. Mr. Hawley,
Mrs. Washburn? Oh, obviously not here. Mr. Doherty,
Yes.
Dr. Lorenz,
yes.
Ms. Pettit,
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow.
Did he say yes? Motion carried. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Nevin, for joining us this evening. Looking forward to working with you. Thanks, Mr. Hawley. Thanks, Mr. Lape, for the technological differences. I have us adjourned at 5:58. Is that correct, Mr. Hawley? All right. Thank you all. Have a good evening. Stay safe in the snow.
Good night.